On today's episode of the Back to the Bird, we sit down with my current teammate, Dave Brock, longtime NLL player. We chat about a couple different stops in his career, a couple different fork in the road moments that he fought past. A really great chat. Also, chat about some travel hacks at the end that Brock has picked up along the way. Also, chat about some news and notes around the league. Catch up on some lacrosse cards, rip open some lacrosse cards, Team Canada cards, and lots of other good stuff as well. Let's get right into it. Episode 130 of the Back to the Bird.
Take your first ride and run, baby, run. If you want a sign, this is it. You're mad, you're magic, you're as hot as a gun. You wanna play with fire, consider this. You'll chase the thrill if it's worth the hit, 'cause you never ever wanna work for it. Take your first ride and run, baby, run. You got a spine of steel and a roar of thunder. Yeah, you make me drown, yeah, you're pulling me under.
All right, we are back after a little bit of a holiday hiatus. The boys are back together again. The three-headed monster, Back of the Bird, episode 130, presented by Cottage Springs. Get out there, get your Springsies in you. You know what to do. There's a bunch of different packs. It's going to be cold. You know what you're going to do? You're going to go ice fishing. Maybe you're going to go up to the cottage, sit by the fire, have some Springs. Watch some NLL games. I've been big Twitter guy lately telling everyone to go watch games. So that's a twofold thing. I'd like to see the game grow, and I'd like to get a job. So somebody fucking hire me. But let's jump into it. Paulie, how are you doing?
Good, buddy. Good. Yeah, missed most of this, but I'm here. And yeah, I guess we haven't really talked too much about anything, man. Christmas was a whirlwind, as it always is, but it was good, man. One of the only one funny story from Christmas. Matt kind of like knows what's going on now. Like, kind of gets like the Santa. Anyways, like opened up like a bunch of gifts, and they're like trucks and whatever. Then we go up north to Dory's family and open up a couple more presents. Same thing, toys, trucks, whatever. And then he gets this one present, and he opens it up, and it's actually like this sick Hot Wheels sweater. 'Cause he like loves Hot Wheels. So he opens it, and he just like looks straight at me. He's like, "This isn't a truck." I'm like, "It's a nice sweater, right?" He's like, "But it's not a truck." I'm like, "Yeah, man, every present isn't a truck, buddy." So
He thought it was just only trucks that he gets?
yeah, like, because he wanted, like, that's all he asked for was like Hot Wheels, a train, and a rocket ship. So he got all those, but he got like more than that too. But it was all like that kind of it was hilarious.
That's great. Good time with fam, though. Donnie, what about you, buddy? How was the holiday there?
Yeah, good. Pretty quiet for me over the holidays. Hanging out with some friends. Actually got down to Boston. Walked past Paulie's old stomping ground there. West Side. Was it West End Johnny's? West Side Johnny's?
Yeah, West End.
Yeah. So that was kind of funny.
It originally was Johnny on the sides, and then he changed it to West End Johnny's.
Yeah, so. I didn't even know. I didn't know where it was. We were just walking through, just checking out the city, and I was like, "Oh my god, I think that's the bar." I remember, Paulie. At some point, we should reshare. By the way, that blog that guy wrote.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, the listeners probably don't know what we're talking about, but a guy who had an acquaintance or who hung out with the Blazers guys for a night wrote like the best blog post of all time, and it was like very early internet. It was awesome. And Paul, you sent it to us last year, so
he was I grew up with him. He was one of my sister's best friends.
Okay.
So him and like another one of my sister's friends, actually, like, so funny, came to visit a guy who my sister dated for like 7 years all through high school.
Okay.
So he was living in Boston. Anyways, he like reached out to me and my brother, and then so on and so forth. We took him out for a couple nights. But just thinking of that West End Johnny is actually a pretty funny story, because we'd have like the post game there, and then Sundays we usually have like a Sunday fun day, and they have this like unreal reggae brunch where it's like a live band, like, and it's just like this. It's like this group of like reggae singers, but they do covers of like all these sick songs. So the one day we walk in and we're rallying the troops. We sit down, and Johnny, the guy who owns the bar, comes over. He's like, "Hey, like Mitch Belial left his credit card here. Is he with you guys?" And we're like, "Oh no, I think like I don't know what he was doing, but he wasn't with us." And we're like, "Hey, we gotta run up this tab on his credit card. Like we'll put it back." So he's like, "All right." So then we just start like ordering drinks, shots. He gets his credit card bill and just like freaks out, and he's like, "Fuck, man!" Like spit on it, and then we told him, and he was freaking out for a bit, like that, like someone spent like $1,000 on his credit card at West End Johnny's, but we told him it was us, so
It
no
would have
harm,
been
no
better.
foul.
It would have been all time if this was how he found out. All
Yeah,
these
yeah,
years later.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know
Unreal.
what happened, man. My bad. Yeah, no, we paid him back. I think there's a good chance we probably didn't, but at least told him that we rang up his credit card.
Hey, it was a little bit like when you asked Dan to cover your gambling debts. It was your
Yeah,
idea. Then you're like, Dan, can you pay him, please?
yeah. Mitch, you pay my Sunday fun day bar tab? Yeah, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Other than that, I'm good. Good win for us, obviously. Nice to contribute personally too. And Tucker at Lymphoma, my first time getting to kind of be a part of that. Very obviously a tremendous honor. Very, very cool to just see Dyson and Willie, getting to compete against each other. Just a very cool thing to be a part of, and a tremendous honor. So, yeah, just grateful for that experience. But how are you? How are you doing, Dan?
Good, man. It was a busy back half of December, just work wise, but ended up kind of wrapping things up before Christmas, which was a nice feeling. Got home for like a week. I'm sure my brother and his wife weren't pumped about that. I was couch surfing for like a week straight, but it was so much fun, man. Just being back around the fam again and kind of getting a little bit of a reset. And my brother's kids kind of in the same spot as Mac, like really understanding Christmas and everything like that. And my brother really pushes Christmas, throughout the year. That talks into the little bedtime monitor that as he is Santa and saying that he's watching, so he's gonna go to bed and anything like that. And my nephew actually had a funny I guess they were watching Santa Claus, like the movie, and I think from what I understand about the story, my nephew asked my brother if they could kill Santa Claus because then my brother would become Santa and they would be able to go see the North Pole. So if Santa ever shows up dead, we know who did it. So, but yeah, outside of that, things have been good, man. We had the Chiefs Blaze alumni game there, which was a ton of fun to play in. Billy,
MVP.
yeah. That was a self-proclaimed MVP, as well as the dual award of most shots taken in a Masters game. But man, it was so much fun. Like, again, pregame, kind of looking around the room, like not as many younger alumni as I anticipated. Like Brendan Thenhouse is in there, ready to rock. Same silky hands on him. A little more mustard behind him now, but same hands on him. And we got in the room, and I forget the guy's name. I've seen him there a bunch of times. It's so bad I can't remember, but he's got an eye patch on. And
Kurt Davies.
Is that who it is? And he's just like, boys, don't you fucking dare lob the ball at me. It makes it way harder when you lob it. I can't catch it that way. You got to snap it in my stick. And I'm just like, I'm looking there. I'm like, man, like, what am I doing right now? And
Was he using the Woody?
Yeah, and he had the Woody and the ridiculous.
Kurt Davies. Yeah,
and
Kurt Davies.
I haven't laughed this hard, like full on tears in my eyes. He's a righty, and he's coming he's got, we have a 2-on-0 breakaway, but he's on what the side a lefty would usually be on, and Lanch is on the right side coming off the bench 40 feet ahead of the guy. And he's just running because the eye patch is on that side. He can't see Lanch. And he just runs and gets in that. And I legitimately broke down on the bench, man. He literally couldn't see him. He full on, it wasn't even a look off. It was a no look off. He just couldn't see him. But He didn't
Hey,
end up
Did he
finishing.
that's why
explain?
Lanchy had 9 points on the weekend. He's just so
Actually, I'm
he
gonna
lit
take
the fire.
I'm gonna take a bit of credit for that too, because when he came over, I ended up driving him to the game on, I think it must have been Monday night, but when he came over, he had a check in his bag for me, just finally getting the expenses from training camp here. But um, he went to pull it out, and he had a like a game day program, and he was the feature guy on the game day program. So that night, I put it on my fridge, and first game after that, he's Gatorade Player of the Week. So I think I might take some credit for that.
Right
Did
here.
he
We
explain?
got
Did he explain the eye patch?
we got it right
Yeah.
here.
So yeah, there it is. That's the exact one that I got up here too. But so he didn't explain how he lost an eye. He just said he came into a bit of an accident. But then we went up to the banquet and he took off the eye patch and he looked completely fine. Like his eye looked like a normal. I don't know if he was fucking with us.
Yeah,
Like
because
because I
I've
feel like
never. Yeah, I've never known him to wear an eye patch.
and it was like
I know.
it was a full on like costume eye patch too. Like it was an old school one. But yeah, nonetheless, good week of lacrosse to watch. It's kind of been all things considered been really cool to kind of be a fan and watch a lot of these games. I've been spending some time at my a buddy of mine, Ben Finelli's, on the weekends back in Burlington, kind of just hanging out. And he loves, like, he's a hockey guy, but he loves watching NLL games. So we'll kind of rotate through all the games, and it's fun. I'm finding it very fun to like sit down, watch a full game with someone who doesn't really know what's going on, and kind of explain like the little like nuances. Not that I'm the biggest expert in the world, but it's just like a fun thing to kind of go through. And then they start talking about it with other people, and it's like it's that chain reaction. So it's been fun. I hope the league starts to keep pushing on this stuff. We were joking around, like I took 15 minutes to put together like a little like highlight clip to a song I liked, and I think that might have been the most game day promo that's come out. So we're really pushing for them to hopefully keep riding that wave, because it seems like
We haven't had Danny edits in a while. You used to be in your bag with that stuff. That
yeah, I
was
think he's back.
I was happy to see that. I panicked when I started getting the notifications that someone liked your reel. I went, "Oh shit, what's
Like, oh,
going
no,
on?"
I posted that video from my dark folders there.
Yeah,
Hey, do you
yeah.
ever, Lomi? Do you ever get notifications that someone's trying to sign into your Instagram?
Yes,
Yeah, that's me.
you're trying
And
to sign
I'm
into.
not. No, I'm not trying to sign into your Instagram, but like, you know how when you're on Instagram, like we can switch back and forth to the profiles. All of a sudden, you showed up on my Instagram. Now I don't have access to your. But I was like, what? And I clicked on it, and it's like, oh, you need permission to sign in. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's going to. You just think someone's trying to like rob.
I was getting him off the chain. I was changing my password every time. That's amazing. There is some stuff that you probably don't want to read, but no,
Or
I'm
do
just kidding.
it. Or do
Um,
it.
or do you? But no, it's again, like I said, I think it's the other thing that is impressive is these crowds, man. The numbers that are kind of coming out. I think it was 2 weeks ago, like before Christmas, that it was like that really good weekend.
Yeah,
But
Halifax, us. Yeah, it was like
yeah,
a great
Colorado.
little.
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
and even like, I mean, I know it's kind of shitty circumstance because it's a smaller place, like only 5,500 or whatever. But Toronto seems to be like selling out all the time, and hopefully people kind of stick out with them and they can kind of turn things around to keep people coming. But yeah, it's cool to see, man. And again,
Full
guys are
barn,
doing
the full
crazy.
barn.
Yeah, guys are doing crazy shit every week. It's fucking wild to see some of the stuff guys are coming up with and just fearlessly throwing in games. And again, just like these subtle, nuanced plays that sometimes maybe your general fan wouldn't know is like a really hard thing to do, but then you explain it to them, and it just gets a lot more respect for it. So I've been enjoying that. But
Paul, I don't think we've had a podcast since you guys did the banner raising. How was that?
Yeah, it was cool, man. Yeah, it was super cool. Like I'm trying to like. I mean, my memory is terrible, so I can't remember like what we did in Roch, but it was a cool little ceremony. I think like one of the coolest parts was Chris Swenson's son emceed it, which was super cool, and he did like awesome. It was wicked. He was getting the crowd pumped up, and then the fireworks and stuff. So it was kind of cool. Like it's one of those things too. It's kind of nice, to, like get that out of the way as well as like kind of something that's looming over your head, and you try not to think about, but something you're trying to enjoy. But yeah, it was a cool little pregame moment, and just kind of put a nice little bow on last year. And then we got our rings too that day as well. I think some guys maybe got them a little bit earlier because there was a little bit of a mishap with the ordering, so we got the rings, which was super cool. And yeah, it was all in all a good night, man. It was a cool little ceremony.
I forgot to mention, not to take the thunder away from Paulie's ceremony, Inside Lacrosse Game of the Year, voted on by the lacrosse fans. High Point taking down UNC.
I was going to say, yeah.
So
Were you
that's
in that
kind of
game?
cool. No, it was last year.
Oh, I don't know.
That was the Braden Maia game, right? I think we had him on right after that. Yep.
Yeah, he when he just threw behind the back to the crease with like no time left in the game, one of the craziest moves I've ever seen. But I should probably be following that more in terms of how he's doing.
Like best lacrosse game ever of like all lacrosse games, or what was like?
No,
just this year.
Game of the year. They didn't take into consideration your bouncer against Vancouver, Paulie. That would have been obviously.
I gotta know. I gotta know.
But we've got a good interview for you guys here too. David Brock dropping in. Funny guy, cheap bastard, and we give it to him on that. But no, he's I've known that guy for a long time. Obviously, similar to Paulie, just those guys growing up with my brother playing and stuff like that. And then I actually played with and then I played with Dylan Brock growing up. He was a year younger than me, so his dad would actually coach with my dad every other year on the team. So that was a fun time, I'm sure, for them more than us. But do we want to go throw it over to that or keep some banter going?
Let's throw to Brocky.
Okay, sweet. Well, you guys know the drill. This is brought to you by Lucky Penny Media. At Lucky Penny Media, we're a full-service marketing company without hefty agency pricing. We understand your brand is everything to you, and working together, it means everything to us. You're more than just a client. You're a partner and a teammate. Our philosophy is simple. You grow, I grow, we grow. So here he is, David Brock.
All right, this Burlington native has played 14 seasons in the NLL. After attending Herkimer College and the University at Albany, he was selected with the 7th overall selection in the 2010 NLL draft by the Boston Blazers. After a stop in Philly, he was picked up by Buffalo, where he played 5 seasons for the Bandits. Since then, he's made stops in New England, Toronto, Halifax, and now hanging with me in Vegas. Welcome to Back of the Bird, Dave Brock.
Thank you very much. You guys must be getting desperate.
This is long overdue, buddy. Long overdue.
Don't worry, Brocky. You are 130th pick for the
I was going to say, holy
this
cow,
show.
it's good. Well, thanks for having me on. I've been people keep asking me, why haven't been on there yet? And I say, I'm not a podcast guy. I keep turning them down. So now I can't use that excuse anymore.
Now, did you know we're number 13 at points in your career?
I wear 4 now, but I have worn 13. You're correct about that. I've kind of alternated.
That's us. Look at that. That's good timing. 130, number 13. We're doing this.
Oh.
There's methods behind the madness.
There you go.
Yeah, and a zero at the end for the amount of championships I've won.
Hey, Brocky, defend the den, baby. We're getting one.
Defend the den, baby. Let's go.
That's it.
Let's go. Don't sleep on the boys.
No.
Let's. Why don't we wind the clocks back here, Brocky? Back to the start. Growing up in Burlington, how does David Brock pick up a lacrosse stick?
My father played, and his father played, and it's just been something that we got our first sticks. We're probably about 3 years old, and my dad, Mike, my dad, he just got us into it at a young age, and he was our coach growing up. And I have a brother that's 11 months older than I am, so we kind of played together the whole way up. Your brother Dave's age. But yeah, that was kind of how it all started, man. I was really young, and I've been doing it ever since for 39 soon. So been at it about 36 years.
Brocky, I learned this about you today. Your uncle played for the Turbos in the day. Is that
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep, that's right. My uncle Paul, my dad's brother, Paul Brock, played, I think, a year, maybe 2 with the Turbos, with the Gate brothers. And Ted Sawicki, I think, was the goalie, and I think he won a Mill championship during one of his years. I don't think he played a whole heck of a lot, but he was pretty good. My dad and my uncle were both pretty good players back in Sarnia. Just ask them, and they'll be happy to tell you how good they were. But yeah, my uncle played pro.
Curious on that note too. Especially for you, you're obviously a dad now and have been in the league a long time. Do you still chat with your dad about your own play?
Yes, yeah, I do. We see each other well once every couple of weeks. I'm busy, he's busy, he still works. And we chat and I ask him for feedback and advice, and he's pretty. He knows I'm a little bit sensitive, so he's fairly reserved when I think he wants to tell me what a pussy he thinks I am and how how shitty I played. But he finds a way to kind of sugarcoat it and make me feel good about myself, and that's kind of why we talk about it. It's kind of a compliment sandwich, I call it. He'll he'll always let me know that I've done something well, but he gives it to me straight, and certainly lets me know when I didn't have a very good game.
Now, I mean, you talked about it a little bit, but like just kind of growing up, you guys had some pretty good teams. I remember at least I was pretty young, but I think there was I don't know if it would have been my brother's second year. It must have been when you guys were playing together. But I think you guys won like silver in the A provincials or something, or bronze or something like that.
Yeah, we won bronze in Bantam. I was a minor, your brother was a major, and that was really the strength of our team, the majors. Every second year when I was with your brother and Sean Thompson and Brian Ray, and the list goes on and on, we were really strong. And then every other year is kind of Stefan LeBlanc and I and a few other kids that never really made a career of it. But we were good. We were never a really strong A team, except when we were the minor with the majors. And yes, we won. Um, I guess you can call it winning the bronze in Bantam. And I think the best team, believe it or not, back then that won the A gold every other year was Ryan Benesh's team, the Kitchener Waterloo Braves. Man, were they ever good? And we could never seem to get over that hurdle. They were man children, and they had beards by the time we were 12, and they were big and they're strong and they're fast. So we could ask your brother about it. He'll tell you we could just never really seem to get over the hump with those guys, but we were pretty good.
Was Benny a superstar as like a 12, 14-year old too, or
Benny looks exactly the same now
okay?
as he did 25 years ago. Just a
Okay.
short, plump little guy who could shoot the piss out of the ball. His shorts down to his ankles. Just hilarious to look at. But boy, was he ever good. And
And
fuck, I'll
it's
tell you, he walked off the floor even back then, so that hasn't changed.
and
was 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 Pooley their goalie or
No, Pooley's 2 years older than me, so I don't know who their goalie was, but
Okay,
I
okay,
never played against
got
Pooley until
got it.
junior.
and what a hairline on Benny. That'll make guys like you and I a little bit jealous. It's not
Benny
right.
has nice hair. Benny does have nice hair. You hear that,
Uh,
buddy? You got good hair.
yeah, yeah. We get compliment sandwich. We got to do the
Compliment
Yeah, there
sandwich.
you go.
You look like Ellen DeGeneres, but you got great hair.
unreal. Well, I mean, and I remember, those you coming up in junior, and my brother played, a little bit with Burlington too, kind of here and there until he decided to go, holdout mode towards the end. And there were some dog days. I think there might have been an 0-18 season in there with Burlington.
Mhm.
But what do you remember from those days? And then maybe touch on kind of how you got out to New West, because I actually just found that out.
Yeah, we struggled. It wasn't for a lot. Like they were trying, and management was trying to put the best product on the floor, but for whatever reason, we just, we didn't have a lot of local guys. So a lot of guys I grew up playing minor with, had quit lacrosse by then, or just went a different path, and it never really translated to junior. We just struggled, and we struggled, and we struggled year after year, and there was an 0-18 season. Actually, I think back then we are playing 22 game seasons, and I think there was even an 0-22 games, 0-22 season. So there were some miserable years. We didn't take it very seriously, and it was not the highlight of my lacrosse career by any means. But yeah, an opportunity presented itself to go out to play in New West in 2007, when New West was hosting the Minto Cup. So I jumped at that and went out there and lived with 3 or 4 guys from the team, and we had a blast. We had a good team. We lost in the semis to Six Nations. But yeah, that was a fantastic summer, and that was really kind of what started my lacrosse career off. Was that experience that I had that summer.
We've talked about Queens Park on the show a couple times, but especially going from a team that really struggled in junior, what was it like kind of playing as the home team in that legendary arena?
Yeah, that's a good question. It was a really neat experience. I lived down the arena, down the road from the arena, and we would walk to games with our bright red New Westminster Salmon Belly shirts on. And as we walked down the street, people would be honking their horns and little kids waving at us and cheering us on. So that was really cool. It was really neat to be a part of that lacrosse town and somewhere where, walking around Burlington, nobody had a clue who the Burlington Chiefs Junior A team was. So yeah, playing at New West and at Queens Park was awesome. It's a beautiful building. I still have a piece, and I've heard a few stories on the pod about a piece of the wood floor, and I have one of those with a team picture. We would had fairly good sized crowds every game, and what I really enjoyed about that summer was out and watching the WLA Salmon Bellies, the major team, play. They were really quite competitive, and they had a lot of NLL talent at the time. So it was a really neat experience, and playing at an arena like that is certainly something that that's a highlight of my career.
Now walk us through how does the recruitment process to get Brocky down to Herkimer go?
Oh boy. So if you knew Brocky when he was a little bit younger, I didn't take school or lacrosse really too seriously, and it wasn't until my friends started going away to college or university locally, playing football, playing lacrosse, whatever, that I thought, oh my goodness, like I've kind of put myself behind the 8 ball here. What the hell am I going to do now? I didn't have very good grades. I had to take a victory lap in high school, and I wasn't getting recruited really by any schools just because I hadn't really put myself out there. I wasn't a great student at the time. And I had a friend, Brian Johnson, another local Burlington guy, I'm sure you probably know, and he was at a junior college, Herkimer County Community College, and he seemed to be enjoying it and doing well. And so I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, tell me a little bit more about JUCO and tell me about your path, how you got there. Do you like it, et cetera, et cetera?" And he sort of told me, what his path was like, similar to mine. Struggled in school, kind of fell behind a little bit and wanted a second chance. And so I reached out to the coach, and I went down to visit it. And I actually just drove by it this weekend on my way home from Albany along the I-90. And, it sort of tugs on the heartstrings a little bit when you pass through a place that you spent a lot of time. But man, it was nice seeing it in the rearview mirror on the way out of there. But it was fun, and as I told the team this weekend, I'm sure Donnie, I don't know if Donnie's going to point this out or not, but I think I had about 140 goals in 2 years. Um, so that was a lot of fun, man. We'd show up to play some of these schools, some of these community colleges, and I'm sure that these kids had just picked up a lacrosse stick for the first time that day. We would just be up like 20-1 after the first quarter. It wasn't fantastic lacrosse.
Yeah, we along with for reference, one of the questions in the quiz this week for the rookies was how many points did Brocky have at Herkimer? Or actually, no, it was where did Brocky go to school? And then that got us onto the subject. And Brocky, I was putting together notes for this. He did an interview with the Thunderbirds a few years ago, and he said, "I was an attackman at Herkimer County Community College where I did very, very well. It helps being one of the only guys on the team who can catch and pass." That was your quote. I bet that would help. Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was fun. We actually had a fairly competitive team, and we ran into Cody Jameson and the Thompson brothers and OCC who just stomp us out. But that was really the only time we had a competitive game. We were playing OCC or one of the schools in Baltimore. I can't even think of the Essex or Howard were a couple
Howard,
other
yeah.
competitive teams, but otherwise we were playing in freaking like farmers fields. It was wild.
And then, so how does after you do? What'd you do? 2 years there?
Too. Yep.
And then how does the I don't know this at all actually. It's like how does the recruiting process out of a junior college go? Like is there schools that typically have a pipeline from certain junior colleges, or is it like a bunch of schools came to talk?
Yeah, I got a hand, putting up those kind of stats. Obviously the phone was pretty
Everyone's
busy.
calling. Yeah, you can't.
Everyone's calling. Yeah, you know what? I
You're
did have
reloading the
some
flip phone
interest.
at that point.
I don't even think I had a phone. I think I was using my coach's, the office, the landline. This is going back 2006, 2007. So I didn't have a phone, no money. But yeah, I was getting some interesting letters, like the old fashioned letter. I didn't hang on to any of them. I wish I had it because there were some cool schools, and I think they were just kind of sending them out to sort of everybody. Um, but yeah, really my recruiting visits. I went to Canisius, and I talked to another one upstate, another D1 program upstate that I considered, and then um, Scott Mark called at the University of Albany, and my father and my dad came and picked me up at Herkimer, and we drove about another hour east to Albany, and we met Scott, and I had never met him before. I had always spoke to him a couple, on the phone about this and about that, and we get out of the car, and there's Coach Marr, and doesn't he just give me a massive bear hug? And I thought, oh, this is great. Like, what a cool, personal guy. And doesn't he walk over, give my dad a massive bear hug? And sort of immediately I was hooked. We that from that moment there forward, I knew that that's where I wanted to go. It was a great campus. Coach Marr, if you guys have ever had the privilege of meeting Coach Marr, he's one of a kind. He was like a father figure to me while I was away at school. But yeah, the recruiting, to get back to your question, it just snail mail, email. Um, it wasn't the phone wasn't super busy, but there was certainly some interest.
Nice.
I had I've kind of I haven't really met Coach Marr, just kind of seen him in passing. But one kind of funny thing that I just remembered was the PLL training camps at U Albany. So there's a walk from where we stayed in the dorms to the field, and there's this kind of area where it very clearly says "Do not drive here." Like there's very clear signs, and all of a sudden one day I see this car pulling up, and I thought it was one of the players from the PLL. I'm like, what dickhead is like, it says "Do not drive," and he gets out. It's Coach Marr. I'm like, okay, yeah, the guy owns this place. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
he
So
does. Yeah, he's the best, man. He's fantastic. We still actually keep in touch a little bit to this day. Every once in a while, I'll hear from him. Okay.
I actually this is kind of topical because not long ago on the old Instagram, Brocky, I'm scrolling away, and don't I see a picture of you in your Albany gear, and it's got the stat line below. I think it might have been what 36 tucks your senior year.
36. Yeah, 30. That sounds about right.
Yeah, that checks out. Now, talk to me about. I mean, what I'm curious about, back then, I think times have changed. Kids now are playing a lot of field lacrosse and like understand the basis of it from like growing up, different systems and stuff like that. But and Herkimer was probably a bit of an outlier. You're just probably doing whatever you can to try to score goals and whatnot. But did you find there was like a bit of a learning curve once you got to Albany to kind of really
Oh,
understand the game?
yes, yes. Especially coming from Herkimer, probably, and I no shade to Herkimer. I enjoyed my time there, but it was such a big jump from JUCO to Division One, and of really having clearing through the box. I don't even think we were doing that at Herkimer, or changing through the box, and all these things that we grew up, like playing field lacrosse in Ontario. You're not doing all this fancy stuff. You don't have long pole middies. You're not doing all this stuff that you don't learn until you get down to school in the United States. So, huge learning curve. Yes, big time.
Yeah, yeah, it's tough, right? Because you're like, when you grow up, it's like you're playing. Back then you're playing, and it's like there's six guys on the field trying to cut the crease at the same time because everybody only knows one way how
Yeah.
to play, right? And then you're just most of the time you're playing like two way. You're going back and forth. You're not really coming off because there's not really many other options at the end of the bench. So it's like you play the whole game, so it can be tough to learn. But I mean, you had some other Canadians there with you. I think you
Yeah.
had spent some time with Rezi and Corey Small. Is that right?
Yeah, Smallsy was my roommate. He was a senior when I transferred in as a junior, and we were roommates. Joey Rez was there for my 2 years, and man, oh man, what a character that guy is! But he's salt of the earth, one of the greatest people going. And then there was Mike Woods, another Canadian kid who didn't really make much of a career. I think he was from Newmarket, really nice kid. But I think that might have been it in terms of Canadians. But yeah, it was a blast, man. There's still times I'll have dreams for about the plate. Just think, oh my God, like all of a sudden I wake up and I'm at home in my bed thing, and it's like I was at my dorm room at U Albany during my dream. It's wild, but I really enjoyed my time there. I was fortunate enough to graduate, had some success there on the field, and some really fond memories.
That's great, man. Well, let's kind of take our next step into the NLL. We'll walk into the draft. What do you remember about draft day for you?
I remember I was at work. I was landscaping at the time, and I got a call from I think it was Tom Ryan the day of the draft at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He was the GM and the head coach, or the head coach of Boston. He said, "Hey, Tom Ryan, we're going to take you tonight. We're going to take you seven overall." And I did not expect that. I thought I'm thinking I might not even get drafted, or I'm going to get drafted really late. I didn't play box in the summer of 2010, which was my draft year. I didn't have a great junior career. But anyway, they liked what they saw. So I called my boss. This is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, "Hey, listen, I gotta leave early." And he was all pissed off. He's, "What do you mean you got to leave early?" He said, "I got to leave early, man. You only get drafted once. These guys want to take me." So he was all pissed off at me. But anyway, that's one thing that stands out. Then we went to the draft. My father and I, we took the train in, and I didn't tell him that I was getting drafted seventh overall, um, just because I didn't want it to not happen, and I didn't want to spoil the surprise. So we got there, and they called out Cody Jameson, number one. I remember that. It was pretty strong first couple of draft picks. I don't know who exactly, but anyway, Tom Ryan gets up and he's about to call it the pick, and I am up and out of my seat before he's even called my name. I'm basically on the stage already. I'll never forget because I was so embarrassed. But I was nervous. I was anxious. I was like on the edge of my seat, and he hadn't even. I'm Tom Ryan from the Boston Blazers. I'm already on my way up there. But yeah, it was great, man. It was kind of cool experience. And then of course we had to sit there for the next like 55 picks, which was a little bit annoying, but I guess that comes with being drafted in the first round. And then my dad and I, we went to Harbor 60. We had a steak and some asparagus, and we sat next to Dion Phaneuf and Thomas Caberlet, which was neat. And
That's cool.
my dad was all proud. He's, "Oh, my son, my son, my son," and he's pretty humble. But he was. It might have been all the Manhattans he had to drink. But anyway, he turns to Dion Phaneuf. He said, "My son got drafted to the NLL." Dion kind of looked at him like, "The fuck are you talking about?" But that's my. And we took the train home, and I went into work all banged up the next day, and that's my draft story.
That's amazing, man. To have like a kind of, again, there's a lot of moments built in there, and I think the pride of a dad's, getting surprised by that. That's a cool moment, and then
Yeah.
getting iced by Double Dion is a nice
Yeah. Well,
little
yeah.
cherry on
Fuck is
top.
this guy talking about? That was funny.
It's like, hey, I'm just trying to have my porterhouse. Leave me alone over here.
Yeah, the fuck off, buddy.
And then going through, we talked about kind of stepping up and kind of the level of play, or just the skill sets, or the way the game is played at a different level can be a hard step. What did you realize about kind of going into your first NLL camp?
I went in, I was drafted to play offense actually, and I think that's probably because I had scored, I don't want to say a lot of goals at Albany, but I had scored a fair amount of goals, and I had a little bit of an offensive flair, and I always thought I was an offenseman, and I was humbled very quickly. Um, so yeah, I remember I played two games for Boston before I was released, like a day before we were supposed to play in Toronto. I had about 100 people coming to the game, and I got a call from the head coach, which oh man, anyway, got a call and was released. But I remember in that first year, just how big and how fast I ran into Taylor Ray once. He was playing from Philly, and I almost retired right on the spot. I just thought, this is fucking stupid. Like I'm losing money doing this basically. Like, what am I doing here? I'm gonna get my back broken. But then anyway, I was released by Boston, quickly picked up by Philly, and there was a time in there where I thought, hey, I might never play again. But Philly gave me an opportunity. If they hadn't have, I would have probably never have played lacrosse again. But that was when I transitioned to the back door and sort of found my role, or my niche, if you will, playing more of a transition position, or what they called at the time reverse transition, trying to shut down the other team's transition. But yeah, I just remember being everyone was big and fast and strong, and it's funny because I think everyone's a lot bigger, stronger, and faster, and about 10 years younger now. So it's definitely more of a competitive league now than it was 15 years ago.
How often do you think about that, Brocky? It's I mean, it's sort of unbelievable. Seventh overall pick, you get caught after 2 games. How often do you kind of think about that, and just kind of the effect that it did or didn't have on the rest of your career?
I try not to really think about it a whole heck of a lot. I do kind of chalk it up to, like I said, Tom Ryan was the coach and GM at the time, and he was relieved of his duty before the season started. So we hired, who's now the head coach of the Toronto Rock. And I think I just heard this. I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago. I think it was Dilksey, talking about when Sawyer came over, and actually it was me who got released so they could pick up Dilk. So that made me feel okay. It wasn't like they were picking up,
Yeah.
somebody who didn't have a very good career and was a bit of a hack. But I think about it from time to time. But everything happens for a reason, and you know what? I could have, I look where I am today. 15 years in the league, close to 200 games, and I've had an what I would consider a great career. Maybe not statistically or on championships, but I've had a wonderful career, and I wouldn't change much of it.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure subconsciously, even if it wasn't something you realized, I'm sure it was something that was used as motivation, and never really kind of
Absolutely.
taking the game for granted too, right? I think sometimes at least speaking from experience, there's times where maybe you kind of get lost in the flow of things, and then you get shocked in a hurry, and then you're like, okay, well, I want this back, and it's you work hard to make it work. But is it just the 1 year you did in Philly?
I did about a year and a half in Philly because I was released after game two. I was picked up after like a week or two later, so I finished the season in Philly. Then I played a whole nother season in Philly, and then I was traded to Buffalo at the end of that season.
And was during those times, because I know way back, Philly would always have crazy crowds and everything. Was Philly still kind of rocking when you were playing there?
No, no,
No.
we weren't very good. I think we missed the playoffs both of my years. I think we had a pretty star-studded, like we had Brody, we had Paul, we had Dan, we had Max Sebald, Bill McGlone, who's a local Philly. Like we had a good team, Brandon Miller and net. We just couldn't really figure it out. I think there was only 8 or 9 teams in the league at the time, and no, the crowds were there were maybe 2,500 people there. I'm sure they inflated it to sound like more. I remember we played one game on a Friday morning at 11 a.m. in Philly, which you can imagine the turnout for that one. Um, yeah,
Now,
no,
now here's my
we didn't do
question:
very well.
did you guys still fly out Sunday, or sorry, Saturday the next day, or what? Did you fly out that night? Because sometimes those early games can make up for a pretty good team bonding session.
We would have stayed for that. We would have. I think we had it was a snowstorm, and we certainly stayed. Yeah, I had some fun, man. We had some fun in Philly. Probably a little bit too much. A little bit too much fun.
The boys are trying to get it back on track by continuing to floor it, and but the team chemistry was off the charts. Just couldn't put it together on the floor.
Yeah, we had a bunch of young guys American guys who didn't know what box lacrosse was all about and how much blood, sweat, and tears as Canadian guys had put into it. So it was more party first and results second. But I kind of got caught up in that a little bit, and we had a lot of fun. But then you had guys like Brody Merrill, who are some of the most competitive guys in the world, and they were foaming at the mouth, ready to fucking kill their own teammates because of how shitty we were.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. But I mean, talk about the trade to Buffalo. You go from kind of playing in front of 2,500 to playing in front of a pretty sold out crowd most nights. What was that transition like?
Yeah, and you know what? My first year in Buffalo, we sucked. We didn't make the playoffs. We were old. Well, I don't. I should watch what I say, but we weren't very good. Um, but the fan support that didn't waver whether we won or lost. You know what Buffalo, you know what it's like playing in
Yeah.
Buffalo. So that was a really cool experience. And we had just picked Dane Smith. If I don't know if you've heard of him, but we had picked Dane Smith. So the sort of the it was on the right trending in the right direction. Hired a new coach and new GM, and that was a really fun 5 years, man. I really enjoyed my time in Buffalo.
What a gruesome twosome, because Dane early on was going out the back door, right, and kind of playing a
Yeah,
transition role. So they're sending
yeah.
Brocky and Daner up the floor. So arguably, you taught him everything he knows about putting the ball in the net.
Well, I always tell him. I always tell him, and I was at his wedding this summer. I wrote it on his card. If it, his feet in my hands, the most complete lacrosse player you could ever think of. So his feet, my hands, immaculate skill set. But yeah, I think there was points where he was getting scratched for old Brocky, as a matter of fact. So I don't know if that's foul. You have to fact check me on that one. But
We can
yeah,
run with it.
I
He
won't.
quickly
I'm
found
not
his
going
way
to
out the
fact
front
check you,
door.
Brocky. Yeah,
Just
we'll
believe,
let
take my word for it. Take my word
you.
for it. But you
You
know what? We had
also.
Matt.
So
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead, Donnie.
No, no.
We had GI and Tracy Kelusky and really veteran Luke Wiles, the Jaguar. Oh man, we had a really veteran right side on O, and you know sometimes it's arguable that an athlete as good as Dane, sometimes they can really use their athletic abilities pushing the ball from the back end. I think at least that was the philosophy, but clearly he's you know what. He could play both ends of the floor no matter what, but
Yeah,
he's certainly found his footing up front.
no doubt, man. But then, what do you remember about the 2016 trip to the finals there?
Oh, tough one. It's a tough one. We were good. We were
Yeah,
good. And we had chemistry. We were having fun. We had a great team. Um, that was a year that, again, the aforementioned Dane Smith, I think he scored 73 or 74 goals. He couldn't be stopped. Benny was scoring left and right and center. And we were just really good. And we ran into a even better Saskatchewan team, um, who was also quite good. You know, and they swept us, I think they beat us by a goal at home in Buffalo game one, and then by a goal or two in Saskatchewan or Saskatoon in game two to win the championship. And that was a heartbreaker, man. We were good. We were close. We were playing lacrosse into like the middle of June. I was living in Buffalo for the season. I was having a blast. Didn't want it to end, but you know the better team won, and you know I'll certainly never forget that.
In some of the stuff I was reading today, just putting the notes together, you kind of talked about Billy D. Smith a lot, and you guys were kind of pretty tight and played a lot together. What was kind of your relationship like, and how did you guys kind of become so tight?
Oh, Billy D, yeah, he's awesome. He'll talk to anyone that listens to him, and I just got caught listening to him an awful lot. You know, he was a mentor, and he always believed in me. You know, if I was feeling down, I felt like I was not playing well, or having a tough game, or did something stupid, Billy was the very first one to tell me, um, you know, how good he thought I was, and how much I meant to him, how much I meant to the team, and he was just always there for me, and a real good support system. And Billy became a really close friend of mine, and somebody who I still keep in touch to this day. And I'm just somebody who I really, you know, would have done anything for. Like he was just a great guy, and he's just such a warm. Like he gets this reputation on the floor as being such a prick, and well, every other word you can think of. But it's not anything like Billy. He's just such a soft teddy bear, and he'll do anything. He can give anyone the shirt off his back, and I really took to that because he's a great leader and a great friend of mine.
that's great, man. Yeah, I can vouch for that. He's a heck of a guy, and a madman on the floor. But again, like he's the first guy to sit you down and ask you how your week was, but actually want a full answer instead of just your standard good. He wants it all. He wants details because he loves getting to know his teammates. He's an all time guy. But um, after that, we step into Black Wolves, Brocky.
Mhm.
What was it like playing over at the Mohegan Sun there?
You know what? That was a blast, man. I loved going to the Mohegan Sun. Yeah, I enjoyed my time there as well. You know, a common theme. I've enjoyed my time, and probably a little too much in a lot of these cities that I've played in. But it was fun in Mohegan, and you know, I came over from a successful Bandits team, and New England was up and coming team at the time. The year before that, prior to that, 2016 or 2017, we beat them in the Eastern Conference. So it would have been 2016. We beat them in the Eastern Conference Final. So they were no slouch. They were a good team, and you know, they made me an offer that I couldn't refuse. So I went to New England. I had two really good years there. I got hurt one year. buggered my ankle up pretty good, but had a couple probably in my best career years there. They, I took on a bit more of a veteran leadership role there. It was a bit of a younger team, and they sort of looked to me for I was getting a little bit longer in my career at this point, so could offer some tangible things that I didn't in Buffalo, being one of the younger guys on the team. But yeah, it was awesome. We're playing for the Mohegan Sun. It's too bad that the team has folded because it was, I think when I started there, we'd get a couple thousand fans a game, and towards the end, we were selling the building out. The team was doing well, and it's really unfortunate that that didn't work out there.
Are you a gambling man, Rocky?
No, not
No,
really.
no,
I
because
just
it's
always, I just always lose, man. Like I'll play from time to time, but I just lose all my money, and I fucking not happy about it. It's better in
yeah.
my Levi's than in the casino's pocket.
Yeah, because that's one of the interesting things about when the team played there is that like technically the players couldn't gamble because they were employees of the casino, right? Because
That's right.
that group owned it. But
That's
I'm
right.
sure
But
that
there was a casino down the road, and some of the real hardos on the team, no names mentioned, would get in an Uber and head over down the road to, I think it was called Foxwoods, and lose all their money there instead.
I was going to say I don't think a rule like that is stopping Evie from throwing his
It did
cash around.
not. I can
But
assure you, it did not.
and Donnie actually put this in the notes. So your best statistical year, 2019, 10 goals, 7 assists, 104 loose balls, and 34 caused turnovers. I would say that's a bit of a year out of old Brocky. So you must have enjoyed your time at Mohegan
It
Sun.
was a good year. Yeah, it was a good year, man. We had a good team. We made the playoffs. We lost to the Bandits, who were an absolute wagon and have been for a while. But yeah, I had a good year. Statistically, it was a lot of fun. It was I still think I got snubbed for DPOY, to be honest, but hey, we'll let the judges sort that one out.
And then I guess like towards the end of that, that's when COVID hits. Or did you sign in Toronto before COVID hit?
Went to Toronto. Yeah, well, that's right. After that year, that I had a really good year, and signed with Toronto. And boy, the phones were hot that August 1st. Boy, were they ever hot. But yeah, I went to Toronto, played 11 games there, and then COVID rolled around and was traded once again to Halifax.
So that was when you were you reunited with old Matty Sawyer there
It
after your
was.
and
It was.
how
I've been,
how was that dynamic out of the gate?
uh, you know, let bygones be bygones. I don't even think we ever really touched on it. It wasn't until the second time that he greased me that I got really pissed off. It's business, and I don't take anything personal. And um, it was good. I enjoyed my time there as well. It was really cool. I always wanted to play for Toronto, and
Yeah.
and took the hometown discount to play there because it was something that I really wanted to do, and I thought I was gonna maybe end my career there. Maybe I was a little bit naive, um, because I had such a good year the year prior that I thought, hey, Graham Hossack, step aside, Steve Perolo, step aside. It just didn't work out there, for a number of reasons, but I'm glad I got to play for Toronto.
And then we're on to Halifax, which I mean, again, I think you look at all these places that you've played. They're no slouch of a city off the floor. So we're going into Halifax, which is a pretty cool thing because would that have been the first year that they had a team there?
Second year. The first
Second
year
year?
was the year that was cut short due to COVID, which
Okay.
is when I was with Toronto, and then we were shut down, and that's when I got traded sort of during COVID. Second year of having a team there, and again, just saw it absolutely blossom. Went from they always had decent sized crowds, but really had no popularity, if you will, in the city, and now it's the hottest ticket in town. It's really done well. It's really been great to see.
And how many trips to the lower deck for Brocky?
Oh,
What a
a
great
few,
spot
buddy.
that is. What a
Such a
great
good
Oh,
spot.
bar.
Yeah.
it's wonderful.
It's just
It's
such
such
an
a wonderful
awesome
place.
Halifax, such an awesome city.
Yeah,
It's
you get your
awesome.
live
It's
music
so awesome.
everywhere.
It's so awesome. It's a hockey town, right? And people were sure to let us know that it's a hockey city, but as 25 lacrosse players, we certainly had a really fun time. And it's so awesome to see the success that they've had, and the fan support, and hopefully it's, the league can identify more cities like that, where it takes off.
Now, and I guess you would have gone back and played for Billy D. Was he the defensive coach then?
He was,
What
yeah,
was that
Billy
like?
was the defensive coach. Um, it was good. Like it was different because now I'm at this point in my career where like I'm playing for Willie now, and I used to play with Willie, and I was playing for Billy prior to that, who I played with, and we had a relationship, and then I was playing with Suits in Halifax. He took over when Billy left. Billy stepped down, and of course, Suits and I have a relationship too. So it's kind of at this point in my career, it's a little bit strange seeing things kind of go full circle. But yeah, playing for Billy was great. Again, just that relationship we've always had. He was, if I had a shitty game or I was a healthy scratch, or um, something didn't go my way, he was the first one to console me and let me know how valuable I was to him in the team.
That's great, man. So then you go into Buffalo, and then pull the big hoodwink on us. Brocky's done. He's retired. The boots are hung up, but then he's back. He's back in Halifax again.
Mhm.
How did that whole
Hoodwinked.
walk me through this whole process?
Yeah, so that's one that so I had a lousy year in Halifax my first year. Um, didn't perform really well. It was coming out of COVID. I just had my son. I wasn't in great shape, and it's nobody's fault of my own. It was just a shitty year, and I felt like I needed a fresh start, and I could see the trajectory that Buffalo was on. And I didn't want to go back to Halifax. Just I thought I needed a clean slate, fresh start. So I called Chugger and I said, "Hey, Chugs, I've still got a little bit left in the tank. Can you sign me? You don't have to pay me. Just I'll play for free." But anyway, they brought me in, and I got into really good shape. I got a little bit banged up before camp, running some sprints. JT had the guys running 5Ks once a week and sending our times in, and I strained my calf about a week or two before camp. It was a little bit banged up, but I was in really good shape, and I thought I performed really well and had a really great camp. And it was awesome being able to put on the Bandits jersey again, and being around a lot of my close friends that were on that team. And then I got a call one Sunday night after camp from JT, and he just said, "Hey, Brocky, there's no room for you." And to be honest with you, my heart broke. Like everything just inside of me, and we've probably all been there in our personal lives and our lacrosse careers. And my heart just broke, man. And I thought, holy shit, like I've done everything I could. I thought I was a shoe-in, going to make this team and be back in Bandit land and really good team and end my career here. Anyway, didn't work out. And I called Chugger, 24-hour rule. I just said, "Hey, Chugs, really surprised, first and foremost. Can you, but I get it. I accept it. Thanks for the opportunity. Can you put me on the retired list? I'm done." He said, "Yeah, Brocky, are you sure that's what you want to do?" I said, "Yeah, put me on the retired list. I'm done. I gave you everything I had. I don't want to play anymore." A couple of days went by, and I thought, you know what? Maybe that was a little bit premature. I'm in too good a shape. I'm in too good a shape. And I was in pretty good shape at the time.
You needed the
I'm in too,
72-hour rule.
Yeah,
I needed
20.
bingo. I need the 72-hour rule. So long story longer. Um, I got in touch with Halifax. I just said, "Hey, listen, any room?" And there was, and they brought me in, and the rest is history. I don't think I missed a game with them since. I kind of took it a little bit more seriously. The second time around was much better shape. The second time around, sort of figured out the system much better the second time around, and played a couple of years there, and had a blast, man. Halifax was awesome, professional city, like I just talked about. Really enjoyed my time there.
that's great, man. And good for
Excuse
you
me.
for sticking it out and knowing you had some jam left, and
Yeah,
from that phone call to now, you're in the midst of your third season since then. So
right.
it's impressive, man.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah, not to pump your tires, man, but like there's been
Oh,
a
no,
couple
go
times.
ahead.
There's been a couple times, like in just talking through this, like before you got to Herkimer, you could have folded. You could have stopped playing at that time after the Blazers thing could have stopped. You've had a couple of chances, and I don't know. I think as your teammate now, and we're getting to know each other. It's kind of cool that a couple different times you kind of bet on yourself here, and I think for guys listening to this, it's probably pretty cool. It's a pretty good message. Like just if you think you can keep going, keep going. So
Absolutely. Absolutely, buddy. Yep. That's appreciate that.
So now let's the stop that we're in the midst of now. How did the Vegas thing shake down?
Known Willie a long time. Free agency rolled around and my phone rang at 12 p.m. 12 a.m. August 1st or whenever it opened. I know there was a couple of hiccups because of the CBA and this and that or whatever it was,
Yeah,
but
sorry.
yeah. Very first call it was from Willie, and he just said, "Hey, listen, we need you." And again, it wasn't 2018, so the phone I didn't have to get two phones for all the phone calls I was receiving. So phones weren't very busy, but I've known Willie a long time. I love Willie. We have a relationship. Um, he sort of sold. He sort of gave me his pitch, and I thought it was a good fit for me. Young team, inexperienced, a lot of guys who haven't played a lot of games and could really benefit from being around a guy like me. And told me the right things, and it was a no-brainer. It was a no-brainer for me. Something I want to be a part of, and a good opportunity, good way to sort of end my career. Yeah, I had nothing but a great experience there. We got a great young team. It's a work in progress, but I don't think there's any reason we can't slide into the playoffs. But yeah, it's been treated like professionals, man. It's been great.
Now, how's the travel been on old Brocky's legs?
It hasn't been that bad, to be honest. You know what? Like we're on Air Canada, direct flights. Corey, our travel agent, she gets me the aisle seats. You know what? I'm at that point. We sort of touched on it earlier that just be thankful instead of. And I've done enough bitching and complaining in my career. Oh, this fucking sucks. Fucking. But I'm not there. I'm not there anymore. Like I'm excited to play. I'm excited to get on the airplane. I'm excited to get. We land in Las Vegas for crying out loud. Like it makes it a lot easier landing in Las Vegas than it would, And I don't know. I don't want to slouch any cities, but yeah, it's great. Treat us very well, and we're only 5 games into it. But yeah, it is what it is. You can't do it forever, so I'm going to try and enjoy it while I can.
Well, you don't complain about the team travel, but you do complain about Air Canada on Twitter.
I do
You
complain
did.
about Air Canada
Yeah.
on Twitter.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what?
okay.
Somebody's got to hold
We
these
are.
fucking guys accountable.
Yeah, absolutely. We're one of the leading airline talking podcasts. We had a lot of airline chat here recently, so
Yeah, they all fucking suck, man. So they need to be held accountable, and the boys can get a few comps along the way. Why not?
Yeah, that's again what some of my favorite stuff is whenever the boys start tweeting directly at Air Canada after something goes
It's
wrong,
awesome.
just really start shooting it up the flagpole. But
And you always
we
get a few
are.
likes too. I could tweet something, I won't get many likes, but the minute you tweet something about an airline, about everybody in the. So, anyways,
we got
We're getting a special guest here.
is
oh,
that the
you made
Undertaker?
it.
What's up, boy?
No.
Brocky, I was going to ask on the subject of travel. Obviously, we just talked about you've played in a few places. What do you think is the worst travel story you've ever had in the league?
Oh boy. Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I've heard some horror stories. I've been pretty fortunate. One flight that stands out a couple of years ago, we were flying, I think, from Georgia to Rochester. And the weather, like the plane, we were on one of those little puddle jumper airplanes, and it was like, one of those little American Airlines. It's got the propellers, and the ceiling's only about 4.5 feet. And the fucking thing was like shaking the whole way. And we actually were landing in Buffalo because plane was flying from Atlanta to Buffalo, but we ended up landing in Rochester because it wouldn't land in Buff. Just the weather was too fucked up. And we would try to land and we'd come back up, and then we'd circle around and try to land and come back up. And there was a family behind me, a family of probably four, young family. I feel really bad for them because they were like getting sick. They were crying. The kids were crying, that they were holding hands and praying. Like it was a really uncomfortable experience. And I'm just sitting there, and I was so hungover. I was kind of hoping the plane would go down, to be honest with you. But they're in the back, and I could just like the kids were really scared. I don't like that. I don't like that. So that's one that stands out. Otherwise, the travel's been pretty flawless for me.
I'm imagining Brocky's like that Shane Gillis bit where he starts calling the mechanic shop. He's like, "I'm gonna fucking light you up."
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brocky's last call out of there. He's calling Matty Sawyer. You fuck.
Yeah.
um,
No hard
no
feelings
hard
with Matt
feelings.
at all.
Bygones are bygones. But the other thing we like to touch on too is I mean, we spoke a little bit about kind of the numbers part of this, but I assume it's been like 13 for. Has it been 13 or for most of your career, or 3 at points too? Was that at Albany? Were you 3?
I I read on one of those NLL facts of the day that I've worn the most numbers out of anybody to ever play in the NLL. So yes, I've worn a few numbers. They even have me registered as a double zero at one point. I don't recall wearing that, but these NLL stats keepers, you never know. But yeah, I wore three at Albany. I wore 55 when I came in. My father was born in 1955. I thought it was a nice tribute to him. Cut after 2 games, so 55 was fuck off. And then 17 for a little while. And then I got to Buffalo, and that's where I found 13. I can't remember who's wearing 17 in Buffalo, but I got 13. I was born on August 13th. Um, so that's where 13 came from. And then just kind of bounced around and, got to wherever, and somebody's wearing 13. So I picked four, and I've kind of been back and forth since. And then the three with Halifax comes from my mentor, Billy D. Smith, just kind of a tribute to him. And that was another really shitty year. So that was the last time I wore that.
Hey, if you want,
It's funny because I go to
if you
sign
want three,
autographs.
go ahead.
I go to sign autographs now, and I write the wrong number half the time. I don't even know what fucking number I wear anymore. I've worn so many of them.
Johnny, are you about to make him an offer for number
Yeah, I was
3?
gonna say if you want three back, you gotta take him in
I,
Harbor 60. that's
I
the
can't
that's
I
the
can't
price.
afford it, buddy. I can't afford
I
His
it.
I
arms
think
aren't
it's
long enough. Hey, his
yeah.
arms aren't long enough for Harbor 60.
Yeah.
No,
I think inflation's gone up a little bit since draft day too. I think it's probably a little more than it
I'll
was.
take you to the Outback, Donnie.
yeah,
Okay.
Wednesdays,
maybe a
All right.
half
blooming
price
onion.
Wednesday.
Now I'm kind of laughing because I don't know if I'm right on this, but you said you didn't remember who was 17 in Buffalo. Was that not Benny?
I can't remember. He's worn just as many numbers as I have. I don't think he was there my first year when I got there. Might have been TK.
Okay,
Um, I can't remember.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other question we like to ask guys is like, is there a piece of gear that you've used forever that's just like super old, or is there some sort of like maybe a superstition that you have to do before games?
No, I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious, but I'm not superstitious. Uh, no, I don't. Not like Hopi last week. I haven't been wearing the same jock since minor, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, that's
Um,
changed. That's changed.
no, I if something works for me, like I'll stick with it. You know what I mean? Like I don't get the
Yeah.
left side of my equipment on and then the right side, none of that bullshit. But try to stick with some routine. Um, but no, I just try to be myself and not put on too much of a show.
You were wearing the Asics for training camp. I thought that was a pretty elite move there. Nothing beats comfortable feet, man.
That's right, buddy. I remember you gumming me. You said, Rocky, you must be the only guy in the show wearing Asics. And I think Benny wore them one year. I think they were the cheapest shoes you could find at Sport Check, like 49.99. Speaking of cheap guys, Paul, Ryan Benesh, well, he went and got the cheapest shoes he could find. They were Asics, but you got to have comfy feet, man. They say the things that you spend the most amount of money on are what's between you and the earth: your bed, your shoes, and your tires. So yeah, the Asics. But I did just get a nice pair of Currys on the weekend, and they are comfortable. If you're in the
Wow,
market, I would highly suggest.
You
I
did. You
love
did.
it. Now,
What's the best and worst nightlife of any NLL city you've played in? Doesn't have to be like the team you played for, but like road trips count too.
Worst, Albany, New York.
Okay. Okay.
That's a no-brainer. And I'm SUNY alumni, but man, I don't not much going on there. And the best, I don't know, man. There's been some pretty fun cities. I always like going out in Buffalo. Probably because it's close to home and I don't have to fly anywhere the next day if I get banged up. Uh, and the bars are open till 4, which is nice. And there's women everywhere, so It's not such a
Yeah.
bad thing. So I've had some fun in Buffalo.
Love it. Now this year, you talked a little bit about kind of being in this leadership role. It's a pretty young team, pretty inexperienced team. Have you been really like hanging the boys out to dry in court and slamming some Americans with some good fines or some younger guys?
No, no, I let the guys have their fun. I try not to get too involved, but I do get dinged up every weekend. But we
Usually by
keep it pretty
me.
modest.
I
By
keep coming
Donnie,
at you.
Donnie,
I feel bad.
we gotta
I heard a
chat
rumor.
offline about
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
got
I
two
heard a
kids,
rumor
buddy. You
about
can't
you.
keep doing that to me.
I know. I'm
I heard
sorry.
a rumor. I heard a rumor actually this past week, Rocky, that this season you had two sets of gear and you would just leave one in the dressing room in Vegas and then have another one that you would take on the road so you wouldn't have to fly home with
How,
it after home games.
how fucking brilliant is that?
Yeah.
How
That's
brilliant
what
is that?
that's what 15 years in the league will get you
That's for
to.
15 years, buddy. I've learned a few things along the way, and I hope if these young guys take anything from me, it's if you have to fly for your home games, get two sets of gear. Leave one there, bring one back and forth when that
So you
the other 9 games.
so
Genius.
it's
And I
two
will take
full
full credit
sets.
for that. I will take full credit for that. I don't care who's listening.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Like
two
so,
full sets, buddy. Well, they give us two helmets. They give us two
yeah.
helmets, a white and a black. I got won't tell anyone, but they gave me two sets of gloves, and of course, I have enough kidney pads and shoulder pads and elbow pads over the years that I haven't put on sideline swap yet. That I have enough to facilitate. I have enough to facilitate two full sets of gear.
That
Hey, it
is
makes a lot of sense. I'd never heard of anyone doing
It's
it before you, but it makes a lot of sense.
it's fucking genius. If you have the room, the storage room at the home facility, you save the amount of time I save. Let me tell you this story. This is a great story. Or not, it's not a story, but another trick that I learned from one Dylan Kinnear. Paulie, you probably
Yeah,
got to know
I
Dylan
heard
this is
this. I heard
absurd.
this week too.
This is absurd.
So I'm not good at telling stories, so I don't tell it very well. But Dylan Kinnear, you have to know Dylan Kinnear to really understand this. But anyway, I learned this from him earlier this year, and I tried it once, and I'm only doing it once. But what he does is when he lands at home, which I believe is Calgary, he just leaves his equipment bag at the oversized equipment, just gets off, walks off the plane, takes his carry-on to his
And goes
car, to
home.
his Uber, however the fuck that guy gets around, nobody really knows. And he goes home. I said, "What do you do with your bag?" He said, "It always just shows up a couple days later. It always just shows up." And I thought that was hilarious. I said, "What the fuck do you mean?" He said, "They just drop it off, no questions asked. It always just shows up." So I tried it this year because I was pissed off. I took the red eye home. We lost. I wasn't in a very good mood. I'm not in a very good mood on the best of days. So I left my gear at Pearson. A day went by, 2 days went by, 3 days went by, 4 days went by, no gear at my front door. Like, what the fuck? Where's my gear? So I called Air Canada and I'm like, "Hey, my gear." And they're like, "Well, why did you leave it? Like, you didn't put in a claim, you didn't tell anyone. It's just been sitting here. Like, you can't do that." Like, what the fuck? So, anyways, I said, "We'll drop it off for you this time, but next time you do that, you're gonna have to come and get it, or we're gonna charge you for dropping it off." But so I did it once. I'm not gonna do it again. But Dylan swears by it, and it always just shows up at my door. So anyway, I thought that was pretty cool.
Just unbelievable. Saves him like maybe 15 minutes a trip. And he just gets off the plane, walks out the door.
Part of kind of the ending of this whole bag leaving your bag at the airport saga. I guess one time they didn't deliver it, and then he did the same thing you did, Brock. He called them, and they're like, "You have to come pick it up. Like, we don't know where it is." So he was like sifting through bags, throwing stuff everywhere, trying to find it, and goes to like a baggage guy that's in the back, and he's like, "I'm looking for my bag," and he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Dylan Kinnear," and the guy looks at him. He goes, "You're the guy. I've been after you for a year." He's like, "I know what you're doing."
The white whale. The white whale. We finally got him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That guy
thought that was a great move.
nice
I'll
retribution.
just stick to my two sets of gear for now.
Yeah, I'll lay off on the fines, Brocky. Sorry, it's just too much.
I got kids, buddy.
What are
I
you
got
finding
kids.
Brocky for?
Every fucking thing.
I gave him homecoming tax on Saturday because playing in Albany. He
They're just small fines, though. Little small modest
yeah,
fines. I'm just
$2.
teasing you, but I do have
$2
one.
at a
I do
time.
have one for you. So we'll
Yeah, I
chat
probably
offline
deserve it.
about that.
Yeah, I deserve it. So, yeah. All right.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate
Yeah.
you sitting
Thanks,
down with
Brocky.
us, Brocky. That was a nice
My pleasure.
session. Long overdue for
I've been,
number 130.
yeah. I've been waiting 2 years, so thanks for finally squeezing me in, fellas. I don't know
You got it.
what the first five guys told you why they couldn't make it on, but I'm glad we could finally get on.
Number 6 said yes. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Thanks, Brocky.
Okay, guys.
Thanks, Brocky.
Take care, guys. Bye now.
Hey, buddy.
All right, we're back. What an interview with Brocky. Appreciate him sitting down with us and some all-time vet maneuvering there, having 2 sets of gear, one at home, one on the road. Don't have to fly with the bag on the way to home games or on the way home from them. So outside of that, I think maybe quick touch on here our World Junior boys really dropping the ball. All-time tough look across the board. I think sucks. I feel for them because I'm sure, especially in the age we're in now, all of those guys were online, like seeing what everyone was saying about them. So that's a tough pill to swallow. But again, I heard on another podcast, it's like, Sidney Crosby and the boys are playing in the World Juniors. They're never losing to Latvia. So I think it's might be time to go back to the well here, drawing board. Get everyone out of Canada's office and just go with a clean slate. So
One of the funny things I saw online was like Trudeau resigned today. Canada lost in the World Juniors. Change starts at the top. That's why he resigned, is because Canada lost in the World Juniors.
Didn't help. It certainly didn't help his case.
No.
Getting Canada back to the top of the hockey world is going to take everybody. I've hit the ODR now twice within a week, so it takes everybody. Yeah,
we got to get back to our roots, and I'm doing the same thing this weekend. I'm going up. One of my buddy Ben that I mentioned, he's been up in that Cedar Springs community in Burlington. I guess they got tennis courts, and the creek's right there, so they just got a pump and a hose, and they've just been like putting water over the whole, like there's almost like the baseline of 2 tennis courts running horizontally across. So we're gonna be up there Saturday, all day games going. So that'll be
nice.
Back to our roots as well. We need to get the love of the game back. We need to get out of the social media era. No more Michigans. Get pucks deep, hit guys from behind.
No more of this TikTok hockey, man. No more TikTok hockey.
Yeah, no more TikTok hockey.
Also, briefly, not practicing the day after a loss and also canceling the game day skate is like the most unbelievable.
Yeah, in the situation you're in.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Also the coach being like, "Hey, you guys are super undisciplined. Like, what are you gonna do?" He's like, "Nothing."
Yeah.
Like,
he's like, "What can I do?" It's like,
tournament's too short. You can do nothing. Sit in the
I'm
room.
fa-
Like, bro,
I'm fairly.
what are you talking about?
I'm fairly convinced we had some sort of like a Joe Biden fake guy going on with Dave Cameron there, because like
Yeah.
he didn't look very well, and he didn't look like he was ready to be able to speak or put thoughts together. So I don't know what was going. He looked like my dad said he looked like the Grinch on the bench.
Yeah, it was weird. I saw another funny meme. I guess it wasn't a meme, but it was like a quote from like an anonymous someone in hockey, either like a scout or something. They're like, "I wouldn't let Dave Cameron run my Pee Wee Double A team."
I think
Yeah.
I saw.
But then it's like, what are we doing here? That's the guy we choose. Like USA's got Matt Carl, who was an NHLer, 2-time like national champion now at Denver, and like we're choosing a guy that like someone wouldn't trust coaching a Pee Wee team. Like let's figure it out here.
Another
hey,
one on
the
that.
three of us are available. The 3 of us are available. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I played D, so I can take the D. Paulie's maybe the head coach. Lomi, you got to take the offense because you're the winger. So yeah,
we're not going to be scoring. We're going to have a lot of majors though.
yeah. You want to get you want to not have TikTok hockey? Make Paul Dawson the fucking head coach.
Let's go. The other one I saw, Paulie, on that note about Cameron, someone said I wouldn't let him be in charge of McDonald's at 3 a.m. when the drive-thru's empty.
A lot of positive stuff.
Yeah.
On the Team Canada note, Donnie, I understand we've got some new World Indoor Box Lacrosse Championship cards.
Yes, our guy Todd Tobias. He knows more about lacrosse cards than you even think it's possible to know. He has been doing a lot of great work for Lacrosse Culture Daily over the last year. Anyways, he worked with TFL Cards, a new card company. They made a set of lacrosse cards based on the World Lacrosse Box Championships. I gave plenty of disclaimers when we did the PLL cards that I paid for those with my own money. Todd sent us these. So thanks, Todd. You're the man. Thank you to everyone at TFL for sending us these. Excuse me. The packages are beautiful, but they are pretty big. It says there's 56 cards in here, so I don't know.
Maybe we do 6.
Okay, well, let's do. Well, we got 3 sets of 56.
What?
We have 300. Let me do the math. 300 cards.
Yeah.
That was the University of Windsor, man.
Yeah.
I was joking, or was I?
Or was he?
Okay.
Why don't you do 2 from each? Because are they different teams?
Well, I think we just get everybody.
Okay, cool.
Okay, hold on. No, here's
players played in the whole thing is everyone
gets a card.
Okay. No, this is good actually. So there's 46 base cards in each pack, and then there's basically 10 special ones. So I think the 10 special ones.
Why don't we do the special?
Yeah, let's do the 10 special. So, these are what the base cards look like. Here's Nick Tchaikovsky from Canada. That's what the base cards look like. Pretty beautiful set of trading cards, if you ask me. Wow. Back of the Bird. Sean Lee Wallace. Back of the Bird guest. Starting it off right with the Bird bump.
Shout out Sean Lee for being behind the bench during a game, too.
Yeah, against us on the weekend. Congratulations.
That's an all-time Bird bump. We spoke that into existence. So
yeah, true enough.
Shout out us.
Another lacrosse culture connection actually wrote a story about Paige Murphy this year. She scored like 900 goals at her school. Erica Evans, Team Canada. Obviously, as you can tell, the box and men's and women's are mixed in here. Okay, and then Megan Kinna is the last one of these special ones. So bunch of the women's players there. We got 3 more women's players. These are now autographed. So Brooklyn Walker Welch is the autograph right there.
I taught her at the Hill. She was a beast.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think she went to North Carolina. I'm not sure if she's still at North Carolina, but a great player. And then we'll do these 2 in tandem. The 2 goaltenders for the women's team, Jessica Quinn and Olivia Schmidt, both of their cards. And then we have 3 men's autographed cards. All 3 back of the Bird guests. Wesley Berg.
Oh, it's a good pull.
Dylan Ward.
Ooh.
And then the leader of our Players Association, Zach Curry.
Nice. Good pulls.
And then, like we said, a lot of great other cards in here as well. All the base cards. Do we want to? We have the Haudenosaunee and the USA. Do you want to do those now, or do you want to do them?
Let's save that for another one.
Okay. All right. So we're adding to our collection. I'm at home today, so we can. I gotta start getting some places to put these. We got all of our PLL cards. We got a bunch more at the office, so we're starting to put together a nice little collection here.
We gotta get a binder with technical slots.
You gotta get like the Pokemon binder. That might.
Yeah.
Put it right beside Charizard.
My nephew bought one of those this Christmas. It was actually very nostalgic.
That's not a truck, Polly.
That's not a truck.
Yeah. So there are the 3 packs. I said stroke. The 3 packs. One's U.S., one's Haudenosaunee, one's Canada. Then I assume?
Correct. Yep, that's the Haudenosaunee one.
So we have 3. We have to open those next packs on the next episode.
Is it like All those packs have both full teams in them.
Yeah,
Men's
I
and
guess
women's?
so. I guess
Okay.
so.
All right, so we're not going for the rarity here, but that's all right.
Well, the rarity is in the special ones.
Yeah, that's the signature pack we're looking for.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
I think we got
Now,
everybody.
Donnie, what's this you want to talk about? Donnie live concerts.
Oh yeah, so we're gonna do this mostly on social media. I just want to talk about it as well. I have so much time on the planes to go to Vegas, so I decided I'm gonna start downloading full like live concert albums and listening to them straight through on the flight. So I started with, and then I'll provide my thoughts on them probably on social. So I started with Tragically Hip from Cops Coliseum, live at the Vault. Awesome.
Yeah.
Just the best, all the hits. Hard to really imagine a better one, but I'll keep you posted. And yeah, mostly I wanted to say this because I think people usually have strong opinions on this. So if there's something I should try, give me. I'll download it. I'll listen to it straight. I have a shit ton of playing time, so let me know.
You should. Do you want to watch them too? No.
I probably can't watch them. I could probably got to download them on Spotify, but I actually didn't realize how many concert albums are on Spotify. So there is a fair amount on there.
I actually. So Dory didn't refurbish. We got her dad's old record player up and running in our place, and I have Tragically Hip live at the Roxy from 1992, which is a club in New York, not the Roxy in Vancouver. It's a club in
Okay.
New York. So it's got a couple bangers, but it's like sick. But it's like, and it's just like their whole. It's not just the songs. Like you can hear them like talking
Yeah.
and stuff, but it's pretty sick.
That's cool. I gotta add to my record collection here. It's looking a little not good.
I want to get
We got-
one.
we got-
I want to get one, but we don't have enough space here.
Yeah.
They're unreal. But the one thing that like you only get like 5 songs, and you gotta switch.
And then you gotta go flip it.
I know, like it was like super cool to start, and then like you're playing with the kids, and like music's going, and all of a sudden you're like, oh fuck, the record ended. Hold on a sec, flip it, and then it's just over, and it's like, all right, now we gotta pick. And then when you get too many records, like now we don't have like a crazy but collection, but we kind of once we got this going, okay, we gotta get like some good records. Now we have like so many, not so many, but it's like, okay, now which one you want to play? It's like, and then you can't decide what you want to play. But we did got the little USB connector, so we don't want to play records. Get the old phone on, and at least you can have something. Cause it sounds like sick through the stereo system. So we got the best of both worlds.
Yep. Now you guys want to know what my first record was I bought when I got this record player?
Yes, I do.
You're never gonna be able to guess it. It's the Greatest Showman soundtrack.
Oh, you know what? You know what? I thought that you love that movie, but there are some banger tunes on that.
Oh, dude, there are some fucking bangers. You want to listen to a soundtrack, Donnie, on the way to a game? That is what you want to listen to.
Okay.
I'm telling you.
Also, like the record player came with all of Dory's like dad's records too, so he had like a pretty like eclectic mix too, which is pretty funny. Like there's some really good ones, and there's like one like full on trumpet, like just like a full trumpet like record. So we had to divide, because same thing, like you say space. So we have like between like what we got from him, what we bought, we probably have like I don't know, more than 20 records now. So we had to like, all right, we're never gonna listen to this trumpet one. We'll put that like somewhere else. And like, there's a couple of like Barbra Streisand and like a couple other like just random like ones we'll never listen to. But anyways, super cool though.
That's good. That's good stuff, as our buddy Kirsty would say. But Donnie, I think maybe you want to give a Snoop.
I'll do it. I'll do it next time. Yep.
Okay.
We can go for a while.
Well, I think that pretty much covers it off. It's been a great week for lacrosse. Paulie, where are you guys at this weekend?
We're back at home Friday night against Toronto.
That's a big one.
Big one.
The battle of the battle of the QEW there. And Donnie, what about you?
We are in Saskatoon. Practice is well timed for 2 Cactus Club visits on Friday. So looking forward to
Oh,
it.
fuck. Let's go. Now we're talking. I love that. I honestly miss it so much. But I
What are
might
you
have
I
to
gonna
go
do?
on
have,
Friday.
Land?
I
You gonna land cactus? Practice cactus pose.
yeah, I think
Wow,
so.
love it, love it. Nice. That's a heavy pull. I love it.
I think
Two
that's exactly.
different.
And then I'm probably gonna go on game day too.
Oh, 100%. But are you gonna go exact same 3 orders every time?
No, I'll probably go something lighter because my favorite is the Creole chicken. That's a lot for right before practice.
Like,
What are you laughing about? That's like the best thing there.
Oh, I know. I'm laughing. I'm picturing Corey Vitarelli going over to Chefs and getting a chicken parm, extra cheese. We couldn't even roll that guy out the front door to get on the floor. But and then
We had a meal one time in
Dan.
we had a meal
Dan.
one time in Panther City at Olive Garden. Yeah, it was Olive Garden, and I was disgusted. I was like, guys, we need to leave. This is the amount of breadsticks, and then asking for soup and salad after the entrees were already eaten. I was like, let's go home.
you got to see this chef's place, Donnie.
Okay.
Like I'm telling you, like, so that you order the chicken parm, and you're like, okay, chicken parm. Like, it's a little bit heavier, but it's chicken parm. You can't see the chicken parm. I'm telling you, there's a sky dome over the bowl of cheese that's like baked. You gotta
Sky
go
Dome.
through that cheese to get into anything. Like, it's ridiculous.
And it's
And
massive.
we were eating that pre-game before Buffalo. Finally, me and my brother are like, hey, like, Ripper, we're not eating here anymore. Like, we would just get trounced after. Guys couldn't even run up and down the floor.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I might have to go to Cactus on Friday for lunch just to honor you that you're going. So
Thank you, Dan.
And then you know what? Maybe I'll just stay for dinner.
Yeah. I think it's a little more expensive downtown than Saskatoon.
If I find a client, we can do the reinsurance staple lunch into dinner, it's especially embarrassing when you do one of those and then you got to pay the bill because the waitress's shift is done, but there's another one coming in, so you got to just start up a new tab. But
What's that? What's the guy on Chicklets that used to do that? Lyle Odeline or whatever.
I was saying,
Yeah.
Lyle Odeline. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
there you go. Awesome. Well, I think
All right,
that pretty
Grace.
much does it for episode 130. Appreciate you guys listening. Again, go drink some Springers, and if you need any marketing, Lucky Penny. Thank you.
Yes.